The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. You can always reach me at 631-647-4694, or visit me at my website, themainstreetcode.com. I'm very excited to be talking with you today. Again, we're here every Friday at 3 o'clock. And if you happen to miss my show, you can always catch me on Spotify or Apple. And see reruns, or go to my website, and I have a whole catalog of the last listing of past shows. When we talk about the Main Street Code, we're talking about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States, whether they be attorneys, financial advisors, or other insurance people, with devising insurance plans for their clients. And I also work with some of you to help you with your insurance questions and needs regarding life insurance, disability, long-term care, and annuities. We are an independent wholesaler. What does that mean? We represent 30 different insurance companies with every type of option available. And there are lots of different types of insurance, even life insurance that's out there. So, you know, there's no one size fits all. It's every policy, everything we do is catered to what your needs are. So, you know, life insurance is a very important product. It's probably one of the foundation things that you should be doing. Whether you're young or old or life insurance is vital. Whether you're single, married, have a business, life insurance could be used for a lot of different things, and I know many people start their children off with some sort of policy that builds cash value that they use for their children's education or the children's retirement, or it's a great thing to have, or again, they buy it a lot of people will buy it when they're born. Why? Because later on in life they may get an illness or a sickness and can't get it. Or even when you're single and healthy and you're in your teens or 20s and you're thinking about, later on you're thinking about getting married or something else, and maybe you have a health ailment that you can't get what you had hoped to get because of your health. So buying it young is very important. What an important element. The benefits of life insurance are immense. It's not just the death benefit, but it's maybe an income replacement for what you're doing. It's so that your family can live. Or there's a lot of life insurance policies now that have living benefits for you. If you become disabled, that maybe they'll pay for the policy for you. Or if you need long-term care, they will supplement your long-term care. So when you're thinking about it and you want to buy life insurance, or you say, well, I just want to inquire, what's the right thing for me? Who do I speak to, and what are the types of policies that are out there? Well, without going into a great deal of detail, a lot of people will look online and they'll look up life insurance and they say, well, how much does it cost? And they get this impression that they're only going to show you the cheapest prices, that you're in the best of health, But there's a million variables when you're buying life insurance. This is why you can't buy online, or you can't buy one from these 1-800 numbers. They're always going to quote you the best price, which may not be the best product or the best thing for you. And I'll go into some examples. Or you call somebody and they work for an insurance company. They're not independent. And that insurance company doesn't offer you all the different products. It only offers you what they want to sell you, and they'll try and fit that product to you as opposed to designing a product that works for you and what your needs are. So there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of noise out there. Oh, I can get you $500,000 for $10 a month. Yeah, but what does that mean? How long is that coverage going to be for? For 5 years and 10 years, and then what? Life insurance is for life. So it's not just buying a cheap term policy. We'll go into some little details. So, basically what you hear on the ads and what you Google is term insurance, which is the cheapest, most inexpensive thing you can do. But term insurance is basically renting your insurance policy. You can rent it for 10 years. You can rent it for 15 years. You can 20 years, 30 years. What do I mean by rent? You pay rent. You have the benefit if something happens to you, to your, significant other, or, your living benefactors of a death benefit. But after you pay rent, they mostly say, oh, goodbye, thank you for the rent. And there's no value to it. The value is, and you hear on, TV shows, even Susie Orman, buy term, invest the difference. You hear that a lot. Well, you're renting the insurance. But what happens if you outlive your term? What happens if you outlive your rent and you still need insurance? What do? Well, you have to apply for new insurance. Well, the problem is with most cheap, inexpensive term products, you outlive it and you have to reapply. You're much older and you may not be as healthy. And how do they price insurance? Well, quite typically, they price it by your age and your health. So the younger you are, the least expensive, and the healthier you are, the least expensive. All it is an ad mechanism, a risk mechanism that the insurance company takes based on your health and your age. Then we talk about the types of policies. So basically there's term, and then there's permanent policies. Now, we've talked about different types of policies in the past, where there's universal life, there's whole life, there's index universal life, there's variable universal life. If you call up one of the career agencies, or you're referred to somebody, let's say from one of these big career companies like on Northwestern, on Mass Mutual, Guardian, and Mass Mutual, they're going to talk to you mostly about the products that company has, which is understandable. Listen, if I went and I wanted to buy a new Mercedes-Benz, I'm going to go to a Mercedes-Benz dealer. They're going to tell me everything about Mercedes-Benz, but they may not tell me about many of the other things that they cannot or are not allowed to sell, which may be more appropriate to you, which is why you work with an independent firm like myself, because I'm going to lay out all the options, whether it be term, whether it be permanent, whether it be an index product or a whole life product or a variable product. You'd like to know what everything's out there. If you call one of the 800 numbers, they're going to try and sell you a term policy. That's it. That's what they do 90% of the time. Oh, this term's cheaper, that's term cheaper. We're going to talk about that in more detail. But you go to one of these career reps that have a New York Life card, a Northwestern card, they're going to talk about whole life and they're going to talk about term, mostly. Now, they may have some other products that fit the bill, but they don't have all the products, so they're not going to talk about all the products. They're not going to go through all your options. The guy on the phone, the 1-800 number, who you don't know, isn't going to talk about any of your options or find out anything about you. And that becomes a big problem for you getting the right kind of coverage that's custom to you. You want to get the type of coverage that works for you and your situation. Everybody's situation is 100% different than everybody else's situation, whether it be what you can afford or what your goals are. So your life insurance planning has to fit in with what your goals are, whether you're taking care of your family or just personally for yourself. Life insurance is very important. It is the most important thing, not only for, income continuation for you, but if you're involved in any type of business, it makes your business more valuable, more attractive if you're looking to sell your business, if your business owns a life insurance policy on you. Because that says that, okay, now this is much more valuable, this is much more attractive, because I have the what-if plans covered. And that's why life insurance is such an important element and should be in everyone's planning, and it's completely different for everyone, and that's why you need to talk to us here at Main Street Planning Group. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. Once again, if you need to get a hold of me, 631-647-4694. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. Give me a call. Thanks. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. This is your host, Neil Himmelstein, and right before the break, we were talking about some of the different reasons why you should have life insurance and how important it is. And there has to be a reason for it, and there are many reasons why you do it. I was actually at a conference last night. It was City National Bank had asked me to come, and City National Bank works with a lot of high net worth individuals. And we just placed a $60 million insurance policy. And the natural question is, and everyone, well, why did that guy need $60 million of coverage? I mean, who needs $60 million of life insurance coverage? Well, there's millions of reasons why he needed $60 million of life insurance. First of all, there's huge estate taxes, and life insurance has the magical power, if put inside a life insurance trust, of being completely estate tax free. So if there's any major taxes going on, that they can be covered with the policy. That was the first reason he needed it. Another reason he needed it: the gentleman that bought this $6 million of coverage is buying and selling a lot of properties and real estate and things ongoing. So a lot of activity in his business. And a lot of his activity is risky in the sense that if something happens to him in the middle of a transaction and all of a sudden it could hurt his family financially or whatnot, he wanted to make sure that he had this backup protection of this policy. And another reason why a guy like that would buy $60 million of coverage, and why many people have large policies, they use the cash value in their policy to buy real estate and do different things. So when I'm talking to a bank and this and that, and I had a whole panel of bankers that I had discussing this earlier this week, and they talk about bank loans. Well, I'm looking to buy a building right now, and what are my rates? 8%, whatever the rates are right now. Maybe in the past the rates were much better. I could do a lot more leverage. I can do this, or I'm buying a home. But maybe I'm in between a home. I'm trying to sell a home and buy a home, but I can't put the down payment. So maybe I have to get a bridge loan. I have to reapply for money. If you have a life insurance policy and you're putting money away inside that cash value of the life insurance policy, you can actually borrow from it at that minute. No tax forms, no taxation whatsoever. I'm going to borrow the money at a much lower rate. I don't have to apply for it. It's mine. I can borrow it and I can pay it back. I can borrow it, use it as a bridge loan, and pay it back. And we have real estate investors, the high-end people. This is what they're doing. You can be what the big boys are, and what the big boys are doing. Many politicians have funded life insurance, have funded their insurance campaign. Actually, a local politician I was speaking to the other day said, I used my whole life policy. My dad told me buy it when I was 20-something. He's still single. He's a local politician. I'll have him on the air. And he says, I used that to fund my political campaign. And then we paid it back and blah, blah, blah. But he says, thank goodness. My dad said, what a great whole life policy I have, because somebody told me I should buy this. My dad said I should put $500 a month into this thing. And I built up this sum of money that I don't have to think about, and I can borrow from it and do something, pay it back, and what a great thing I have for the rest of my life. And he's single still, and that's how he's using his policy. So there's many different uses for an insurance policy, and it has such great tax favorability that there's no 1099s, no taxes. No, I don't have to qualify to get my money back. I can borrow from it, pay it back, borrow, do other things. Great, great, great product that people don't understand all the different uses you can have for a product or a solution that can handle many problems down the road. Now, what does your policy look like today? If you had bought life insurance policy, what does it look like? Because your life changes every day. You have a kid, you have 2 kids, you get married, you get divorced, you buy a business, you do this. Is your policy updated? Is the company that you bought still functioning today? Yesterday I got a call from a gentleman who had a pension from Presidential Life, which has been out of business for years. He says, I got this statement. The statement was dated. I said, give me a copy of the statement. And he got I don't know where he got my number from, but apparently I get these calls from people from different insurance companies because they hear me on the air and, all the other different things I do. So he called me randomly, and I got this statement. It was from 2011. He worked on the docks in Brooklyn or someplace, and he got this statement that he had a pension. He worked there 11 years, and he's disabled now, and he's turning 65, and he knew nothing about it. And within 5 minutes, I was able to track it down, and he does have this pension, which he didn't, which he recalled having. He sent me a statement from 2011. I was able to connect him with the place where that pension was, and he's now going to be getting payments and a statement because he called me. Otherwise, he was like, this was just lost. It was gone. It was the company he worked for is out of business, but that pension is still there, which is a wonderful thing. So he's going to have an extra income stream. It was, I'm not looking to make any money on it. I just like to help people. And if you don't know what you have and you just have papers, you never know. So you need to check your things and make sure it's updated. Is that company out of business? If it's a life insurance company, he would have never found this company because I knew exactly who had the business. They exactly connected me. And then when I told them, we're going to send him a whole packet, great. Well, they had an address that he lived at in 2011 in New York. He's now living in Florida. So he wouldn't even gotten that packet. So you may move, and there's forms that go here and there. A policy might lapse if you're not funding it correctly, or if you've changed addresses and you haven't updated it. But what happens if you get married and then you get divorced and you marry somebody else? Okay? That life insurance benefit that you took out, you say, I got life insurance. But that benefit goes by beneficiary. So it may be your ex-wife is the beneficiary of that policy. Or maybe you had your child as a beneficiary, as a secondary beneficiary, and then with the new wife you have new children, and you think they're covered. They're not. So it's the ex-wife, the other child, the people that you may not even know anymore, or maybe beneficiaries of your policy that you've been paying for all your life, but you didn't make the changes or make sure that the changes were made because you didn't talk to us. So things change. Companies change. Companies have gone out of business. Okay? There are companies like Metropolitan Life doesn't sell new life insurance policies. Metropolitan Life was the largest insurance company in the world at one point. And yet they're no longer in the insurance business. And maybe you bought a term policy 4 years ago, 5 years ago. You might be able to convert it into a permanent policy now, which we do a lot of conversions. A lot of people come to us and say, hey, you know what? I've got cancer now. I want this to be a permanent policy. My term's going to run out in 2 years. Neil, can you do anything? Well, usually we can, but as these companies have left the business, the products that they convert to now aren't the same as what they were then, because you haven't kept up with your policy. I blame whoever your rep is, but I also blame yourself. But many times they're not convertible, or we're not sure what they're convertible. And a lot of the new term policies that are coming out, that the $1-800 term or select a quote, or you might hear on TV, maybe they don't have any conversion privileges at all. That's why they're giving you a cheap price. It's like selling you a car without wheels on it. Conversion is a very important feature of even your term insurance policy. Living benefits is part of your policy. They're not giving you living benefits on that cheap term policy that you could get with some other carriers right now. This is why you need to speak to the Main Street Planning Group and give us a call and let us review whatever policies you have, as well as any new policies you want to purchase. Give us a call at 631-647-4694. Always reach out to me, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. Catch me on Spotify, Apple. Love to hear from you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.